It's time to throw away all my impact wrenches. I won't need them for breaking loose rusty fasteners anymore because I have this monster. It's a vintage Williams 3/4-inch drive ratchet. Well, obviously I'm joking. This ratchet would almost be more useful as a club-like weapon, but it's still a really cool vintage tool that I managed to pick up for $10 at a recent swap meet. I'm going to see how it works, clean it up, and hopefully put it back into service. So the first step in a project like this is cleaning it up. Normally I would do that by running it through my ultrasonic cleaner to get rid of all the grease. Then I'd soak it in evapo-rust or vinegar to get rid of the rust. But I can't do that here because this thing is huge. It is not even close to fitting in my ultrasonic cleaner. And short of filling a huge tub with multiple gallons of vinegar, I don't really have a way to soak it in vinegar. This is something I built a while ago for similar situations, and it might be a good idea for some of you who also like cleaning up vintage tools. The way this thing works, it's a PVC pipe. I glued a cap here on the end, and I have a screw cap on this end. And I would fill this up with vinegar or evapo-rust. I really prefer evapo-rust, but I don't have any right now. And then you can put long tools like ratchets or wrenches in here, and it's an easy way to soak them to remove the rust. The problem is this ratchet is just a little bit too big to fit in here, and I'm not going to build a new one of these just for this project. All right, so first let's see if we can remove this permanent marker here. Normally what I would use for that is acetone, so nail polish remover, but a lot of people don't have that. A lot of you dudes out there, I stole this one from my wife. So I'm going to try rubbing alcohol. I've actually never used that before. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it's not working fantastically, but it is working. That rubbing alcohol took most of it off. I'm going to try the acetone now and see if that gets rid of the last little bit here. There we go. That took it right off. So I'm going to have to do all this the old-fashioned way by hand. What I'm going to be using is diluted simple green. This is, I think I mixed this up 10-to-1 for just general purpose cleaning. And then this is a plastic bristled brush. I also have metal bristled brushes if I really need to get in there. This is the really glamorous part of tool restoration. Scrubbing decades of grease out of an old tool like this. Now I'm going to take this inside to my shop sink and rinse it off. That first round did not get it quite as clean as I was hoping. There's still some gunk down here in the letters. This finish is just really rough, so there's lots of little pores for grease and stuff to get down inside. So I'm going to try it again. This 10-to-1 simple green might not have quite enough degreasing power. I'll give it another try here. And this time I will be using a brass bristled brush. This brush is also knocking some of the loose rust off. I'm going to have to remove that later, so any that I can knock off now will make the job later a little bit easier. That brass brush worked a lot better. This is a big time improvement. There are still a few little spots with some very tenacious caked in grease, like right here where it says on. So I'm going to use the pick and pick out some of those gobs of grease, then give it one more quick scrub, and it should be time to start knocking off the rust. Here's a little detail I just noticed that's kind of interesting. All the letters here are forged into the handle. So they're raised because they were actually forged into it with the forging die. Same with the model number here, H50, except this A is stamped into the ratchet. It's not forged into it like these. So what I think they did is they made a model revision from H50 to H50A, but they didn't want to buy a whole new forging die, which makes sense. So after they forged it, they just stamped that A in there. I decided before I keep cleaning up the finish, I'm going to service the mechanism. And this is a simple push-through ratchet, so it only ratchets one direction. So what I think we're going to find in here is once I remove this screw, there will be a spring and then just a pin, and that pin will engage teeth on the gear, and that's all there is to it. So first, let's see if I can just get this out by hand with a big screwdriver. I'm skeptical this is going to work. Gah! Nope, I am not strong enough for that. So attempt number 2 here, and I'm not just going to rely on my weak muscles. This is a square shank screwdriver, so I'm going to put a crescent wrench on it so I can really get some torque. And appropriately, this is a J.H. Williams brand adjustable wrench. There we go. That's working. All right, so I see it. We'll pull it out here with the pick. And there's the spring. So there should be, I think, some kind of pin in there. Let me grab a magnet here, see if that'll pull it out. There we go. Check it out. It's pretty hard to see down in there, but you can see the teeth on the gear. And if you spin it here, I'll be able to look at them down in there. So what I'm going to do is shine this flashlight down there and then check out all the teeth on the gear to see if any of them are broken off. So good news, I spun this all the way around while looking down in there, and none of the teeth have any significant damage. I am going to use some fine steel wool and a little bit of oil and rub this down to knock off that rust. The fine steel wool here isn't cutting it. This rust is a little too heavy for that. So I'm switching to this, a steel bristled brush. I generally don't like using the bench grinder for rust removal on a tool because it leaves kind of a distinctive dull finish, but I used it on a few of the worst spots here on this ratchet. I'm not going to disassemble the ratcheting mechanism here any more than this. To do it, I would have to take a pin spanner on this ring and then unscrew it. I don't think I have a pin spanner that'll fit this, and I don't really need to do that. What I'm going to do is blast brake cleaner down in here while I'm turning this to clean out any old grease. Then I can re-lubricate it and put it back together. It does not look like new, but it's hugely improved from what it looked like before. On something like this, you really could never make it look like new. All these spots where there were rust, there's now no chrome left. I'm going to hit it now with this chrome polish I have. This is old chrome that was not, that smooth and shiny when it was new. But hopefully that can make it look a little bit better and give it a little more protection. I don't think that chrome polish made a huge improvement, but I think it helped a little, and overall, this is looking a lot better than what I started with. Well, I had to take a break for a couple days. As you can see, I got sidetracked with some other projects. So bear with me here. It's going to take me a little while to get my workbench cleaned off. Good as new. A heavy-duty, coarse-tooth ratchet like this is a perfect application for my favorite light grease, Superlube brand synthetic grease. It's quite a reach down in there to actually reach the gear. So what I'm going to do is squirt some Superlube onto this Q-tip, then dab it down in there, dab some on the gear, then I'll turn it a little bit and do that several times so that there's some grease on most parts of the gear. One thing about lubricating ratchets is a lot of people go overboard. They often do not need a ton of lubrication. I put all the parts of the ratcheting mechanism here through my ultrasonic cleaner and they came out really well. As we saw before, this is an incredibly simple mechanism. It's just this spring which pushes up on the pawl here and that engages the gear and is what allows it to ratchet. Here's the pawl, and as you can see, it's square, and it fits inside a square broached hole here in the ratchet head. You can also see that there is a decent chip out of the edge here. This is what's been engaging the gear for all those decades. So what I'm going to do is lubricate this before reinstalling it, and then when I go to install it, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, so we'll have a fresh edge here engaging the gear. So first up, I will put the pawl back in, then the spring, and finally, the screw. There it is. It's all back together and working great. I counted up the teeth here, and this is a whopping 16-tooth mechanism. So, no fine-tooth ratcheting here. So I thought this was a pretty good deal when I got it for $10. But then after a couple days, I was looking to replace the drive plug here, and I could not find one very easily. And then I thought, well, maybe it was a mistake to buy this. But I figured out some solutions, and I'll show you here what I found out. I could not find any original style or other vintage drive plugs for this, so I thought I was in trouble. Then I remembered that these are more common on European ratchets, where they're referred to as couplers. I could have got a plain 3/4-inch drive one for around $17 shipped from the UK, or a quick-release version for about $24, but I ended up going a different way. So here's what I decided to do, and I did this because I don't have any 3/4-inch drive sockets, and I do not plan on buying any. So if I had just went ahead and bought a 3/4-inch drive plug for this, I would have also had to use a 3/4-inch to 1/2-inch adapter, which would get pretty bulky on here. So instead is I have this 3/4-inch to 1/2-inch adapter, which I already had, and I'll plug that in here. And what I bought brand new is this. This is a 1/2-inch drive plug, Ghidorah brand. I bought it here from a company in the US on eBay for $10, and I can put that in here, and that will allow me to use my 1/2-inch drive sockets here on the 3/4-inch drive ratchet. And if I want to switch direction, I just pop that out and put it in the other side. Another reason I went this way is because I've seen in the past 1/2-inch drive push-through ratchets for sale, and they were missing the drive plug. So now, not only does this fix my problem of using 1/2-inch drive sockets with this 3/4-inch drive ratchet, but I have this 1/2-inch drive plug that I can use in the future if I find any interesting 1/2-inch drive push-through ratchets that are missing the plug. For a total outlay of $20, I think this was a pretty good bargain. I can see myself using it occasionally, but it's really too big for a lot of jobs. But it's such a cool vintage tool that I'm still glad I picked it up. So what do you think? Was this worth $20? Is there anything you would have done differently on the restoration? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, please hit that like and that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.